Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Blue Jays Today, folks. Today, everybody, we are going to be discussing a lot of trade rumors going on right now with the Toronto Blue Jays as the All-Star break gets closer, the trade deadline gets closer, and the Blue Jays record is sitting where it is right now in this weird spot of, I don't know if we're buying, I don't know if we're selling, I don't know what the fuck we're doing. There is so many reports and, analysts coming out of the woodwork here giving their 2 cents about what they think this team is going to do, who this team has been involved with, who this team is discussing. And it is shocking to say the least, because the one takeaway I hope that everybody gets from this Blue Jays Today episode, this podcast, is that no one has any fucking idea what this team is going to do. No one at all. I leave you with that. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlock.
Well, I'm your host, Adam Peddle. I think they don't know what they're doing because Ross Atkins and the front office don't even know what to do yet, because we don't know what this team is going to be until July 18th. That's been the deadline that Ross Atkins or at least we've heard in the rumors of the industry that that's the deadline that Ross Atkins has set for this team. So until that day comes, they don't even know what they're doing. So the doors are open. We could be buying, we could be selling, but it all depends on the guys on the field. But until then, we're left with speculation, including the Louis Robert or Louis Robert. I keep going back and forth on which is the correct pronunciation. You guys let me know in the chat.
I always thought it's Robert.
I thought it was Robert, but then I made a video on him in the offseason, and people were telling me it's Robert, and I don't know. Louis Robert, he has been speculated to be a target, apparently, for the Toronto Blue Jays, which, I mean, he'd be a target for literally anybody, but if the Blue Jays get on a hot stretch, maybe that could be the guy offensively to put the Blue Jays over the edge.
Well, if the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be buying, and we're going to get all to those rumors, but it does seem like if they're buying heavy, and if they're selling, then they might sell heavy as well. The first thing that we want to discuss here before we get to all of those big Louis trade rumors is the fact that Ken Rosenthal came out recently and was discussing the Cavan Biggio trade and how he believes that this could be the, in his words, what did he start of the end? Start of the end is what he said of the Baby Jays. He was on the Foul Territory podcast, exceptional podcast. They do a great job over there. And he was just discussing how, obviously Cavan Biggio, he was part of that group of three. It's Cavan, it's Bo, it's Guerrero. They all come up, they're the bright new faces of baseball. And now one of them is gone, and he was thinking that this could be the start of the end of that era, meaning that Cavan Biggio might not be the only one of those guys leaving the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I agree and I disagree with Ken Rosenthal. I think the Cavan Biggio trade had no correlation with them signaling, well, then Vlad and Bo will be next. Right. I think there's no correlation because from our perspective, from a Blue Jay fan, he got cut because he was kind of worthless on this roster. Really no playing time, being wasted away at the bench. You had to get some value from him. You wanted to bring up Spencer Horwitz to spark some offense. But it is somewhat related because it kind of signals the disparity.
Desperation?
Desperation, thank you. The desperation of this Blue Jays team in needing offense. So if we don't get that offensive push, then yes, maybe in the future there could be a Bo Bichette or Vladimir Guerrero Jr. trade, maybe somewhere down the line. But in a way, yes, I agree, and I also disagree.
Well, yeah, I don't think that there is any weight to the fact that, well, okay, Biggio's gone. That means that these other guys are going to go. But obviously, I think from an outside perspective, Ken Rosenthal is looking at this and going, well, hey, when they came up, this was a package deal. We marketed this as the trio, right? This was the Three Musketeers of the new Toronto Blue Jays era, and now that just is not the case anymore. Fuck, it's like 1.5 Musketeers at this point because one of them, it just doesn't seemingly care about the game anymore. But I think that from that outside perspective, when you see somebody like Cavan Biggio go, it would be different if it was a Danny Burgers or whoever, Ernie Clement or something. But because it's Cavan Biggio and because it's that name and because that has to do so much with this era of Blue Jays baseball, it does feel like, oh crap, like the big time sell is on the table if you are willing to lose a piece of your identity in Cavan Biggio, because it's less about the production for me let's face it, he wasn't producing.
No.
It's more about the marketability and, the fact that you have identified with Kevin Biggio for so long, and now he's no longer on your team, and it felt very sudden.
Isn't it kind of funny that we looped Biggio, Bichette, and Guerrero all kind of into the same category? I was looking back at, who are our top prospects at the time, and it was Vlad and Bo, and then Biggio was way down.
He was.
He was way down.
He was.
And it's like, okay, the only reason he got looped in is because Dad is Craig.
Yes.
That's literally it. So I hear that our identity is leaving us. I mean, it was time for the Blue Jays. But you know what? It's okay. For the Blue Jays' point of view, it's not the signal of the end. But they got to start playing some good baseball if they want to try to turn that narrative around. Because, you're having Ken Rosenthal come out and say, the end is coming near, which is kind of shitty, to say the least.
Well, of course it is, but that is the reality of the situation. I think that the one part of what he was discussing that I disagree with is that it's the start of the end to the baby Blue Jays, because that is clearly in reference to Bo Bichette and Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah.
I could 100% get behind the fact that the Kevin Biggio trade is the start of the end of this timeline, of this Ross Atkins era, of this everything, right? Because, we'll get to it in a little bit, but that Milwaukee series, man, that last game, 5-4, fake comeback again, Toronto Blue Jays, offensively speaking, things are not getting better. They are actually getting worse. And if by July 18, 5, 6, 7 games below 500, well, the writing will be on the wall. On the flip side of things, though, if they can somehow magically come to life with the baseball bats, and I say magically because it does feel like at this point it is going to take a miracle to make it happen. We've tried it. Fuck, Spencer Horwitz is leading off this baseball team, and it's not working.
David Schneider, too.
And then it's David Schneider.
I love those guys, but don't get me wrong.
It's weird, man. It's weird.
We're that desperate, right?
Yes.
So they got to turn it around. If we could find some sort of spark in the toughest part of our 2024 schedule, then maybe, just maybe, Ross Atkins pushes in all the chips and goes after a guy like Louis Robert that apparently we've been looked at as a possible fit, a best available outfielder in 2024 that could be available for the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, Louis Robert, I mean, if you're not familiar with the guy, he's injury prone. He's injury prone as all holy hell. But when he is on the field, yes, this guy absolutely dominates. Look at the last few years and look at the numbers. He hasn't played enough for these percentile rankings to come through. But
they would be very good.
They are dominant, right? Yeah. And yes, it would be so exciting because you trade for this guy and you'd have him for basically 4 years. Yeah, because you got 2 club options.
And obviously, just looking at the numbers too, right? Those are easy smashes for the club options. $20 million for a guy that, when he is on the field, is an 850 OPS power hitter, right? Honestly, Louis Robert kind of reminds me of even a younger, maybe even more exciting Teoscar Hernandez Jr. because the slug is there. The batting average is low, undeniably, but what he can do with the power stroke, it's truly insane, right? I mean, 7 home runs in 60 at-bats. That's cracked. That's crazy. But, he's got an 845 OPS, batting 200. That's almost hard to do.
I know.
So, obviously, Louis Robert would be a phenomenal addition to any squad. But can you flash back over to the 6 teams that they've linked us with? Let's 6 squads over there in that article. Yeah, the 6 squads right here. Dodgers, they are leading their division. Phillies, leading their division. The Atlanta Braves, they are not leading their division, but it's also the Atlanta Braves, and that's Double-A, and we know what he can do. The Mariners, they are leading their division right now. The Royals are just behind. They are not quite leading, but they're right there.
Second wild card, great position.
And then you have the Blue Jays, who are last in their division, outside the wild card spot, looking in. I'm personally feeling a little bit like the black sheep right here. This doesn't look. It doesn't feel right.
The only reality that we ever make a trade for Louis Robert Jr. is if the team, like you mentioned before, magically turns it on, and all of a sudden, all the cylinders are firing. We're one of the best offenses in baseball because everything leading up to this point has been looking garbage. We're bottom 10 in offense. We're bottom 12 in pitching. So adding a Louis Robert isn't going to solve the problem. When I look back to 2015 and we made that huge fucking, trade deadline acquisition with Tulowitzki, David Price, we were a 500 team, yes, just below 500.
Yeah.
But all of the offensive numbers showed that, wow, we actually have potential. If we got a little bit more, we brought some energy back in the team, we could actually do it. But there's no way you can make that trade. Plus, we're not even considering the fact that our farm system is depleted.
Yeah.
And if you are going to sell off the farm system to get Robert, you literally have nobody. Think about the trade that you'd have to make to get Lou Robert Jr.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to trade Ricky Tiedemann. You'd have to trade Relvis Martinez at least.
Yeah.
Like, those guys are gone. I don't see it happening at all without killing our entire farm system.
Quick shout out here to Scott Farr with the $4.99 dono saying you should buy a bunch of clown noses with Blue Jays Today logos on them, sell them. We've actually thought about that before, Scott.
Yep.
That would I feel like that would be a very big hit. W's in the chat for Scott right there. Matthew saying, geez, you guys are really early today. We are, everybody. Yeah. We apologize. We know that we are a little early, but the boys have some weekend plans, so we figured we would bang this one out in the morning, everybody. I want to cycle just back there and actually think about what it would mean to have him on this team, because we're not even factoring in that having Louis Robert on the Toronto Blue Jays, well, that means that somebody can't play outfield anymore. Somebody's going to be losing. So not only would you be trading for Robert, but at minimum, I'm thinking about it right now, you almost need to, cut Kevin Kiermaier, or how would that even work?
Because right now we're looking at our team, like our A lineup. You have Dylan Varsho in center field. You got David Schneider at left. You got Spencer Horwitz at second, Vladdy at first, and then DH. I think DH is a spot where maybe you could push somebody like a Vladdy or like a Spencer Horwitz. It's basically like you're losing a Justin Turner.
Right.
That's essentially what. And obviously, I would be okay with that, and Justin Turner would be our bench guy now. But that's what it'd be. I mean, hey, it's still an upgrade.
Well, okay, so less about the team aspect, because I agree. Yes, obviously, Louis Robert, Justin Turner, we are in different tiers entirely. But also, think about the money aspect, right? Like Rogers Communication Company, Kevin
We're almost like 250, I think. Kevin Kiermaier 10 million.
Kevin Kiermaier is 10. Justin Turner's
13, with incentives 12, up to 14.
Something like that, right? Like if it was a reality where you trade for this guy, and now you're cutting your $12 million, $13 million guy. Are we willing to just burn all that money for this squad right now? I feel like, all of those things considered, even to be in this conversation, you need to go so above and beyond. Like, you got to be 5, 6, 7 games above 500, to even just start to entertain this.
And I'm saying your OPS of your team needs to be like 850 for the rest of the month. Our OPS the last 15 days is 599.
Right.
That's horrible.
It's not good.
Horrible. 29th in baseball in the last 15 days. We think we're turning it around. We think we're turning a corner. No.
Right.
We're going backwards. So there's no reality in my mind that this makes any sense.
Wow.
At all.
Let's flash over to some of the other guys that they are linking the Toronto Blue Jays with right now. Like we said, if we are going to be buyers, they are going to be really pushing all their chips in the middle, folks. I mean, Taylor Ward, Lane Thomas, we talked about him quite a bit in the offseason, last trade deadline as well. Jesse Winker, he has had a bit of a resurgence this year.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Conforto, that is an exciting player as well. I know we've been linked to Michael Conforto for a while, and then, now he's kind of back because he was dealing with some injuries and everything that. Randy Arozarena. Okay, that's ridiculous, actually. There's no way
we're trading for Randy.
We're not trading for Randy.
Actually, I did hear Jeff Passan say, it might not be a bad idea for the Rays to flip Arozarena at this trade deadline.
But he's not doing very well.
That's the thing, yeah. Why would we trade for a guy who's not doing very well?
Yeah,
but that's a whole other note.
If you're going to flip him, you'd think that you'd want to trade him when his value is high.
Right, yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Also, I do want to give a quick shout out here to Bob Elliott. Just DM'd us right now saying you guys are live. You should probably know this. Here's some insider little info from Bob Elliott. Shout out to you, saying Chicago White Sox had a pro scout watching AAA Buffalo Bisons Tuesday and Wednesday in Buffalo. There you go. So are these legitimate rumors, or is this just part of their job? I feel like it's just part of the job. Thank you, Bob, for that.
Look, okay. I mean, yes, it's part of their job, but it also, they see the writing on the wall too. They're hearing the same shit that we're hearing. Maybe they're probably hearing more, actually.
Yeah, what can
they're going, okay,
if we do get an offer, what do these guys look like?
We have to entertain this, obviously.
Yeah.
We got to know what's here. But that also means, everybody, that, and this is something that we haven't even discussed yet, right? If you trade for Louis Robert Jr. Like, they're at the Bison's game right now. It is Elvis Martinez. It is, Addison Barger. It is Ricky Tiedemann. Like, everybody in that prospect pool that you like or you think could become a player, they're on the White Sox right now, man, because that's the only way for Chicago to move forward, and they know that. So if they're going to trade their biggest asset, then obviously they want to have a haul and a half. And we know, historically speaking, the Dodgers are going to be willing to pay it. The Braves, under Double-A, they'll probably be willing to pay it. Right. There will be teams out there that, are willing to go all in for this guy, and to outbid them. Ricky's gone, and Elvis is gone, and Addison's gone. I just don't know if I'm willing to do that, man.
Also, shout out to, it's Hans, actually, who sent over this tweet, so shout out to Hans. I know exactly. I'm not willing to do it either. That is, you are literally going all in, and this is not the team that I, like, think about poker, for example. If I'm...
Bro, you're going
I got 2-7 offsuit. How am I going to go all in with a 2-7 offsuit?
Yeah.
I can't do that.
You need, like, runner.
Exactly.
It's like, and this is not a smart thing, So
yeah,
I mean, look, I would love to see Robert in Blue Jays blue, and don't get me wrong, everybody. Like, if they actually pulled the trade off, like, I'd find a way to convince myself to be hype and excited about it. But the first thing that we need to see is this squad just start to play overall better baseball. Everybody, overall better baseball.
Before we go into how we're gonna maybe play better baseball soon, before we wrap up this whole trade stuff, interesting tweet actually by Ben Nicholson-Smith this morning. The boys kind of woke up. We were all going on the couch like, oh my god, this is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
He says, heard from some Blue Jays season ticket holders who got their 2025 renewal notices via email this morning. Typically, first payments for the following year are required in August or September. This year, it's July 22nd, 8 days before the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Okay, so take that what you will. Little bit of, scheming behind the scenes. Maybe if we do, I get it from a business standpoint. It does make sense. If you sell off the team, who's going to renew their tickets? I wouldn't renew my tickets.
No.
But it goes to show that the front office has sent down a command saying, hey, guys, we need to change this because we're considering maybe selling off pieces. So we got to get the money in before. So if you're a season ticket holder, that kind of sucks, because if you were, your decision to renew your ticket, your season-long tickets, were dependent on whether we trade or not, well, you're going to have to make a decision before the trade deadline.
Well, and that's just so, I mean, I get why they're doing it, but it also feels so slimy too, because it's like we're basically, if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, it's kind of like we're selling you a bill of goods because, well, for these 8 days, we still have Guerrero, we still have Bo, we still have these guys. Oh, never mind, they're gone now.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Your money is with us, and you're going to have to watch fucking whoever, lead off. Right?
It's
ridiculous.
Honestly, it almost makes me not. I'll throw. I'm not a business owner. I don't know this. I don't know what the stats would be. I keep it where it's at, because then if you sell them all, well, maybe you start promoting some new guys or whatever, right? But to me, knowing the Blue Jays, I might just say, you know what, I'm not going to risk this year. I'm not even going to buy it because why would I? I don't know. That's just me.
I do agree with you, man. Like it's and this sucks to see, right? This sucks to see because I think that, and Sophie says it right here, I think that they're selling, and this is whenever the money starts talking, that's when you get your clearest indication about what is or is not happening right now. That's the money talking, and that does mean exactly what you said, which is the front office has had a serious conversation with everyone and going, hey, listen, with the way that we're playing baseball, we might need to cut everything and burn it down. We don't think that people are going to want to come watch a team that is cutting everything and burning it down. So let's bump this date up.
I agree. All right, let's move on a little bit, guys. Can we get some sort of reinforcements onto this team? Not via trade, actually, but in our system. A lot of you guys on social media, here on our YouTube channel, on our podcast, has been asking, where the hell is Joey Votto? Dude hits a homer in the first pitch against the Philadelphia Phillies. Zach Wheeler, mind you, or is it Aaron Nola? Really great pitcher in spring training. Then he goes to the dugout, rolls his ankle, and we don't hear about him for months.
Right.
But finally, this was a couple days ago, we hear that Joey Votto is getting pretty close to minor league games, said John Schneider. He's been doing everything in terms of base running, hitting live batting practice, feeling good. I think you'll see him in some games very, very soon. Is this anything to you that would change the team at all, or at least make it interesting to watch some Blue Jays baseball?
That's more about what it is for me, right? Like I just don't have any expectations that Joey Votto is going to come in here and play like, Hall of Fame level Joey Votto at age, what is he, 40? Like,
40. After rolling he rolled his ankle and he was out for 3 months.
And scroll down to Steve in a truck here saying it's the worst ankle sprain in the history of ankle sprains.
Literally,
that is what it feels like, right? Because like he has been out forever.
This guy had Tommy John on his ankle.
For real.
That's what it feels
like. That's effectively like what happened here. So look, I don't have any reservations that he's going to be incredible at baseball, but I do think for me anyways, it would make it more interesting, especially to get a little bit of patriotism here for Canada. If you could somehow get him on the roster, I've been calling for this all season, but if you could get him on the roster in some capacity on Canada Day, that's exciting to me. That's a game that I would watch, and right now, like, it's like I have to force myself to watch these games because, I typically know what the outcome is going to be. If Joey Votto is going to be there on Canada Day, I'm excited for it. I might even want to go in person and see that thing, right? So it's more of an excitement factor to me than anything else. And if he did provide any type of value in the lineup, like, great.
He's got to be better than, Daniel Vogelbach, right?
You'd hope, right? You'd hope. As
right?
a future Hall of Famer, you would hope. But again, folks, like, let's not get our expectations too high here. I mean, we are talking about somebody who definitely in the back nine of their career at this point. And
he's on the 18, bro.
Yeah.
He's on the 18.
He's
about to chip
putting,
up.
Dude.
He's putting. Right
let's move on and talk about Yariel Rodriguez, folks. This guy is assuredly exciting, and we need him back, man, with that Manoah injury going to be out for the year. Obviously, we just need more pitchers as a whole. John Schneider said a couple days ago that he had a damn good outing with Buffalo last night, and his progress is driving how Blue Jays next fill Alek Manoah's rotation spot due up on Saturday. We're viewing him to be pitching on a regular turn and would like him to start. So there you have it, everybody. It's possible that that maybe he could be with the team tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that is exciting a little bit, right? I mean, and look, he dominated his last rehab start. He struck out 10 in 4 innings. Absolutely dominant. We saw this too leading up to the last time he was getting called up from AAA. The fastball looked good. All the whips looked good. And hey, he threw 67 pitches, which is a little bit, he's getting up there. He's ramping up. But expect that, right? Expect 70, maybe 75 pitches if he does pitch on Saturday, right? That's what we're expecting. Does it solve the problem for me to fill in Alek Manoah? Kind of not, because we don't have a guy who can give us 100. That's another 2 innings that we're potentially missing out of a starter in that 5th spot. Yeah. So the bullpen's going to get taxed even more. You got to hope that Bowden Francis comes in afterwards and does pretty good, or Trevor Richards, whoever it is, playing for that kind of piggyback role. But again, it all comes down to if we see ourselves in a picture where we think we can compete this year, then we can go trade for some more starting pitching in that 5th spot. But right now, I mean, it's a Band-Aid solution. And I love Yariel.
You got to make do, man. You got to make do.
You got to make do what you got to do. I mean, at some point, you got to imagine they will bring up somebody. Because, again, if we're out of this thing, then whatever. Like, if you got to, send him back down just to get some more work and then bring up Espino when we sell everything, like, okay, sure.
Yeah, that's the reality that it would have to be. But for right now, still trying to compete for that wild card spot, Yariel, in my opinion, is the best possible solution that you can do. I know that Bowden Francis had a good outing last outing, but I'm just not on that train yet after what we saw for the first, 2 months of the season. So Yariel Rodriguez coming back, that could be a big help. Somebody that we do need to give a lot of credit to right now, because I know that most of this podcast has been kind of doom and gloom, but Spencer Horwitz, coming in and immediately going to the leadoff spot, I can't possibly imagine how much pressure that would have been for this guy to, like, or maybe it wasn't immediate. He started 2. Is that right? Started 2 first game, and then literally the game following that, he was the leadoff guy, right? So, like, you're automatically into, high pressure, high leverage situations about, against MLB players. That is tough. And again, we are dealing with the smallest of sample sizes right now. But so far, he is delivering. In 18 at-bats, he's batting .389. He's got 7 hits so far. He's got an OPS of .921. He's setting the table right now, getting on base. That is what you need to see. And this is something that the Toronto Blue Jays just have not had all season long, ever since the, basically death of George Springer, which we are going to get to. R.I.P. George Springer. There just hasn't been a guy at that top of the order that can consistently do it. I'm not going to go so far to say that, like, this is our guy forever now, but I like what he's doing.
Well, for sure. I mean, you think about typical leadoff guys, what do I think, right? I think contact, I think getting on base, I think working counts, having a great approach, seeing a lot of pitches. Let's be honest. George Springer, we accepted him at the #1 spot because he hit bombs and he was exciting.
He was a threat.
He was a threat right out of the gate, which is cool and great. I love a good leadoff guy that's a threat out of the gate. But that's, when he falls off the table, then what happens? Low batting average, lots of swing and miss, doesn't see a lot of pitches, strikes out. Not a great leadoff guy. Davis Schneider. Love Davis Schneider. But let's be honest again. He's out there trying to do damage. Similar player type. Low batting average. Trying to thump. Trying to do extra base power. Again, great. But right out of the gate, what's been the problem for these Blue Jays in the first inning? What's, like we've always said on the live stream, what's the #1 problem in the very first inning, other than we can't score runs?
Well, I mean, I feel like in the first inning we attack way too much.
Way too early.
Way too early.
Spencer Horwitz sees pitches. He works the count. He gets himself on base. That's what I like out of my leadoff guy. Yes, he doesn't have speed like a typical leadoff guy. I think we could throw that out of the window. We're not looking for him to steal.
Yeah, like, that's the perfect situation.
That's
ever.
the perfect.
We're not in that spot right now, man. I'll take a guy batting 389 though.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the way this guy attacks the baseball, inside out swing, hits it to the left side of the field, takes a changeup away, puts it dead center. He's got a great bat, a great handle of the bat, great eye. With that being said, small sample size, and is he gonna turn into our leadoff guy in the future? I don't know.
We
have to wait and see. It's a Band-Aid.
Keep doing it.
It's exactly.
This is a little tip of the cap and being like, keep doing it, kid.
It's your job to lose at this point. There's literally nobody else threatening.
No, there isn't, man. You are going to have your opportunities. I want to move now and do a little segment here talking about George Springer because, my goodness gracious, it keeps going from bad to worse, guys. I tweeted this out yesterday. George Springer's rough season for the Blue Jays just keeps getting worse. So far in June, everybody, and this is what blew me away because I thought that it was getting better. I thought that it was slowly, on the upswing. That's not the case. So far in June, guys, George Springer is batting 150. He's got an on-base percentage. This is what kills me.
Oh, my God.
An on-base percentage of 19.1%. That's fucking terrible.
It's really
His
bad.
slugging is atrocious. His slugging is like a bad batting average. And his OPS in June so far is 416. That's in 11 games, by the way. So it's not like
Small
this is,
size,
but it's not like it is a 2 or 3 game sample size. It's like, that's a third of the month, maybe even half of the month based on the way that you've been playing. We're on June 14th right now, so we are effectively halfway through.
Wow.
This is going from bad to worse. It's not getting better, everybody.
No.
Like, it's just, I don't know what you do anymore, man. This guy cannot occupy a spot in your lineup with the way that he is playing baseball.
And Sophie out here saying he does well against Boston and Cleveland. Here's the thing, Sophie. I hear you. Stats may say that, but this is a different player. I mean, you look at this guy at the plate. He's not selecting any velocity. He's not selecting a location. What I mean by selecting, he's sitting on it. He's not doing it. He's out there chasing his career. Well, he's chasing hits. He's chasing, to get back to where he was. And that's not a good way to approach the game of baseball. You got to be thinking smart when you're up to the plate, selecting a velocity, selecting a quadrant, and attacking it. And he's not doing it, and the numbers reflect it. And that's why I feel a lot different when I look at him moving forward.
Well, the reason I say, obviously the numbers on the page are right there for you, but the reason I say that you cannot have this guy in the lineup anymore is because look at that last game against Milwaukee, right? The fake comeback. We were almost there. The bases are loaded. The bases are loaded, everybody. And George Springer's up 3 pitches. Retired. And all he had to do is just put a ball in play, right? Get one in the air, get a sac fly. If he would have gotten a sac fly there, based on the rest of the outcomes, we would have tied the game.
Yeah.
It would have been 5-5. We lose 5-4 because that's strikeout on 3 pitches, mind you. That's not a competitive at bat right there. A 3-pitch strikeout, that puts us behind, and then we inevitably come up just short 5-4. If somebody's there and puts a ball in the air, it's 5-5 now. We go to extras. I don't know. Maybe we still lose. But, we're there, right? We're fighting. The comeback could be a real thing. George Springer right now, just being there in the lineup is hurting this squad. I hate to say that because when we first signed this guy, I was over the moon excited. I thought that this was going to be our leader and helping these young kids develop. And for a time, maybe that was the case.
Yeah, it was.
It is not anymore. Something needs to be done. I don't know if it's a Phantom IL stint.
For real though, actually,
like legitimately,
something,
it's like something needs to be done to get him out of the lineup.
Well, here's the thing, Sophie, with the facts here again. Like I am saying the truth. We got rid of our only other right fielder in Biggio, right?
Like, why the fuck did we do that?
Yeah, so now he has to play every single day. Why didn't we just get rid of Danny Burgers? Why didn't we just get rid of Danny Burgers? Anyways, point being, if he goes on a Phantom IL, I think the next guy obviously up is Mr. Barsher, because he's the only other guy in our system that knows how to play right field. Like, literally nobody...
Can Nathan Lucas play?
I guess Nathan Lucas could play right field, but also choose which one you want, right? Like, it's your decision there.
Yeah.
But I don't know what you do at this point. You can't cut him. You're eating so much money.
No, it's too much money. That's the thing. It's too much money to cut. You can't trade him, because if you trade him, you're paying like... I personally, I didn't even know who would... Like, nobody. You need to pay all of it for me. You need to pay all of it.
I'm paying him $2 million a year.
Maybe.
Max.
And like, would you even do that?
Like maybe.
I don't know.
We're paying Danny Burgers $2 million, so I guess I maybe would.
I guess, but like we are scraping the bottom of the barrel right now, guys. Right now, George Springer's batting average is below 200 on the year, and he is the 4th worst player in OPS in the MLB. That is not good. He's getting paid $25 million, and the production isn't there. Speaking of the offense, everybody, I thought it was on the upswing. We were wrong. In the last 15 days, we are down there and ranked 29th in OPS. Toronto Blue Jays. That's not great, everyone. That's really not good. And keeping in mind as well, the last 15 days actually hasn't been that bad. Like, we were winning some games. But you know what it took? Complete game shutout. 8 innings, 1 run. Dominant starting pitching from the Toronto Blue Jays, right? We're not going to get that every time.
Look, it's I hear you. We're all frustrated right now. The season is just so frustrating, guys. I mean, in the last 12 days, we have a 3.68 ERA. And, I mean, I think did Chris Bassett come out and say it? I think Chris Bassett came out and said it, where he literally said the pitching has to be perfect. He acknowledged it. I mean, we all know it's true. But he acknowledged it too, and that just goes to show, like, the frustration is starting to come through even to the media. Like, we have to be perfect if we want to win. Clearly, the blame of this team is on the offense.
Yes.
And we also got to blame the bullpen a little bit too. They have been very bad as well.
They've definitely done their part to get us where we are. But, I genuinely feel for some of the starting pitchers
I know.
here, man, because you are doing everything in your power. And if it isn't that 8 innings, 1 earned run, or that complete game shutout, this is a game that we are probably going to lose. And there's been so many times, too, that we've seen this Toronto Blue Jays team, maybe they'll be up like 1-0. And they just keep them in the game. They don't add on anymore. It's like you got Kevin Gausman out there, like locking them down, inning after inning after inning. We're in the 6th right now. It's still 1-0. This is your opportunity to tack on more, right? To put them in the ground, to call game. And they don't do it. They just keep them in the game, keep them around. And then, what do you know? It's the 7th, it's the 8th. There's a 2-run jack, and all of a sudden we're behind. And I've seen that story time and time again.
I feel like I'm a broken record saying this, but I just don't understand what the hell we're trying to do at the plate. When I watch these guys, why are we swinging at borderline pitches? Why are we offering at borderline pitches all the time? Like, what was the change from Don Mattingly being the offensive coordinator to the past, or the past to Don Mattingly? What was the difference here? What's the idea? I thought the idea was, we were talking to everybody, was, they're gonna go to their strengths. We're gonna play to our strengths. Well, why does everybody look like they're just chasing hits, swinging at borderline pitches, swinging at pitchers' pitches? Why? Obviously, it's easier said than done to be a good baseball player, but it looks lazy. It looks like we don't care. It looks like we're pressing. Sure, you might care, but it also looks the same when you're pressing. It looks like you don't care because you're just offering. Okay, I'm okay with grounding out with this outside changeup. That's the pitch I want to hit. Why are we being lazy? Why aren't we having better approaches? It's frustrating. It's 3 months into the season. Why is nobody saying or changing anything? It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, yeah. And I mean, like, we were calling for this all last offseason, saying that everybody that's associated with hitting probably needs to go.
They all got to go, man.
And at this point, I mean, it is abundantly clear, right? It's not like, and what's crazy too is, like, it's not like the guys that you have lack talent. We know that Bo's good. We know that Guerrero's good. Even Springer, we know that these guys are good at baseball. It is now the team's job to get the best out of their current players. That is not happening, everybody, and we are going to need to get the best out of our current players if we want to have any chance of dealing with these Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland Guardians leading their division right now. They have come to life this year, folks. They are better than the Milwaukee Brewers, which we just lost to. So this entire series is going to be a tough one. And if we just want to go 3-3 on the week, we've got to win this series. It is going to be an uphill
it's
battle.
It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. Let's go over here, guys, and show you. I don't know why it says LT Allen. It's Logan Allen. I don't know.
Lieutenant Allen.
Lieutenant Allen. This guy's just dominant. Well, apparently not. He's actually got a 5.57 ERA. In the last 7 starts, it's very similar to that 5.57 ERA. Gosman, though, on a bit of an upswing. I mean, he dominated his last outing, right?
Yeah. Gosman's been in a weird spot this year where, it does kind of feel like, one incredible, one not so good, one incredible, one not so good. Because, like we said, folks, complete game shutout the last outing, but the outing previous to that, kind of got dominated. So I still do believe in Kevin Gosman, and I still do think that, when he's on the bump, like, we have a strong chance to win. But don't be surprised if, a couple runs do come around, and then the question is that too much for this Toronto Blue Jays offense?
Oh, I know, exactly, right? Like, Gosman needs to be perfect. The one good thing is Allen actually is kind of not being that good this year, right?
He's mad, dude. He's absolutely... In fact, I would go so far to say that he's far below average.
Yeah, far below average. So we have to get to him early, but we know that's not our strength. Kevin Gosman has been great. I just looked up the Cleveland Guardians last 15-day numbers, if we're kind of going based off recency.
Right.
They're 12th in baseball in OPS.
Okay.
7-10.
Obviously a lot better than us.
A lot better than us. So there's a chance here. This one feels weird because it's our offense up against a bad pitcher. Like, this is probably the best opportunity for us to score 3 runs. Oh, so I wish I found this stat before this live stream. When we score 3 runs, our record is 33-10.
3 runs?
Or 3 runs or more.
Wow.
Like, I think that's the majority of our wins, no? Is it?
Yeah,
33. Yeah, we scored 3 more runs. Or no, I think it can't be 33 because I think we've won games even less than that. But it's like 30 or 31 or something like that. Someone tweeted out, I don't know how accurate it is, but I saw that, and I was like, holy crap. That's the difference of our offense actually showing up one day.
Yeah, like all you need to do is like kind of the bare minimum here,
Yeah.
Like if you scored 4 runs a game, which is like honestly kind of below average to average in the MLB, like we would be an above 500 team. We'd be killing it,
It's insane. It's literally insane. So anyway, if we can get to this guy and score 3 or 4, then hello, we've got an opportunity. But can we do it?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Who's going to win this one?
Well, first things first, let's give a quick shout out to one of the sponsors of this video, folks, and we will show you the bet that we're going to be riding with for this one.
Here, one sec, just coming here. All right, here we go. Shout out to Betway. Don't worry, guys.
Time for a quick shout out to Betway. Betway is the best place to make all of your sports bets on all of your favorite teams. Betway is also in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway, everybody, for being absolutely phenomenal. Even though the Cleveland Guardians have a bad pitcher on the bump and their offense has been pretty good, I think both Adam and I are going to be riding with the fact that there will be no run in the first inning. It's just like
it's just such an obvious one. I mean, we've scored the 1 run in the first inning. What was it, last 32, 31 games? We scored 1 run in the first. That's an easy smash. And then Kevin Gosman, I think, actually might get off to a nice start.
Yeah.
So 180, great odds. I'm smashing.
I'll take it all day, every day, man. Like, you just got to ride with that one and hope for the best. So that's where we're going right there. Now let's predict the game. For me, this is a good opportunity here. It really is. It always comes down to what version of the offense are we going to see today, and I'm just not convinced it's going to be one that we like and or appreciate. I'm going to say that
this is tough.
I'm going to say that we win because I want us to. And it's going to be ugly, and it's going to be 4-2.
I'll say we win 3-2. Yeah, I think we grab this one, but this one for me feels like a 60-40, maybe a 55-45.
I think it's a lot closer.
It's a lot closer than we think. Yeah, it's gonna be tough, guys. But Slight win in this one.
All right, moving on to the next game of the series. Looks like Carlos Carrasco. This is a TBD for the Toronto Blue Jays at the moment, but it could be a Yariel Rodriguez type thing, which would then inevitably mean that the bullpen day is going. Carlos Carrasco has not been the best so far, but that being said, I'm still not ever going to ride with the bullpen day when it's going on right now, especially because if it is Yariel Rodriguez, well, you know, this is the first start back in the MLB for, you know, over a month. And then it would be, you know, potentially Bowden Francis after that, or I don't know what they do, if it's Trevor Richards, whatever. I'm never going to ride with the bullpen day, so this is a loss for me.
I do think there's a chance there, but knowing the Toronto Blue Jays, we're going to drop one of these first two games. That's what I'll say. Because the first one's so close. This one I can see a reality, but again, Bowden Francis coming in after the Cleveland Guardian offense being dominant.
That's the thing. Like, their offense is going to come to life at least once.
It'll come to life at least once. Ours won't. So that's the main factor there. Ours will not come to life. Even though Carrasco, I checked, had like an ERA of like 6. Right. 6.50 or 6.70 in the last 7 days. Or 7 starts for him. So we'll drop this one. We split the first two. But then it comes down to the third one, where you do got Jose Barrios up against Lively. And Lively, I think, has been pretty lively.
Yeah, you know, he's been very, very good. 6-2 right now.
Last
so far,
7 has been dominant.
2.7 ERA in the last 7 games. 2.59 ERA over the course of the season. So this could be an absolutely disgusting baseball game. Like, if you like offense, don't watch this game, because it will be. We're looking at like a 1-0 win here. And I'm going to give it to the Cleveland Guardians. I do think that they'll win. 6-2
record when he's on the bump. 5-5 record when he's on the bump. It goes to show that Barrios gets a lot of tough matchups. I mean, not him. His offense gets lots of tough matchups. And this is another one. So loss. It's going to be Barrios. It's going to be exactly what we saw on Sunday. Dominance. We're close into the 6th inning. They scratch across 1 or 2 runs, and Barrios, he's been so good. Another quality start for Jose. Everyone, round of applause. Leads the league in quality starts. And then here comes Hennessy's. Here comes Hennessy's, a lefty. Boom, boom, boom. Homer, gone. Blue Jays offense, ground ball. No fight in us. But here's the 9th. And here comes Spencer Horwitz. And here's David Schneider. But then George Springer with the strikeout. Ends the game. That's the game. Literally, I could paint you. I could write this Blue Jay script.
5-3, Cleveland.
Literally. That's going to be the score.
So if our predictions hold true, everybody, then we're saying that the Toronto Blue Jays will lose this series, go 1-2 in it. I mean, like, I felt like you had to win the Milwaukee one then. I just think that Cleveland is just a bit too good right now. And, you know, it's going to be an uphill battle, guys. Obviously, I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that they go 3-0 in this series and just blow the doors off and, you know, completely shut everybody up, us included. Right now, I find it hard to believe that is going to happen.
Yeah, and look, we talked about miracles. That would be a miracle if we could sweep the Cleveland Guardians and have baseball look at us a little bit differently. And maybe those Louis Robert trade rumors, maybe they actually come true.
Could be a real thing, guys. If you haven't already done so, hit the like, smash the subscribe button, everybody, and let us know your comments about everything that we discussed down below. No live stream today or on Sunday. We will be back on Monday, though, everybody, and videos coming out tomorrow and also on Sunday as well. So tune into those, guys, and have a lovely weekend.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
go Jays, go!